Today we're going to take a look at assembling a Aeroqual dust sentry and solar power system. So just to go through everything that we've got here, we've got 250 watt solar panels. We have the mounting bracket for the solar panel. We have the mounting hardware for the solar panel, all the nuts and bolts. We're going to need a adjustable 1/2-inch socket wrench and a 13 millimeter wrench. We've got our Aeroqual dust sentry mounted on the tripod using the 2 mounting points there. We have our solar panel extension cables with splitters on one end and a waterproof Anderson connector on the other. We have our Aeroqual extension cable, which is a keyed blue extension cable. We have our Ultra Powermate here with 1 battery already installed. We have our second battery here and the rest of the battery mounting kit here. Now let's take a look at how to put it together. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is install the battery. So the first thing that we need to do is install the battery holder hooks into the tray. So Chris, if you want to go ahead and put those in. So just hook them into the slots on the bottom of the tray, and then just lean them on the battery next to there, and then lean the other one on the panel. And then we'll go ahead and drop the battery into place, and just be careful not to knock the hooks out of the slots you just put them into. Now we're going to put the split apart the little hook tabs here. So we've got 2 of those, and then we're going to put the bracket that goes across the top, and then slide one of the little tabs over each threaded rod and then into the little slot on the cross bracket. And then put a washer and a wing nut on each one. Alright, now that our batteries are installed, we need to connect them up. So before we wire anything up, the first thing we want to do is make sure that all of our circuit breakers are in the off position. So if they're all down like this, they're off. So perfect, they're all switched off, and we'll start connecting them. So there are 2 battery leads, one shorter, one longer. We're going to use just alligator clamps for this demonstration, but you want to make sure you're using the proper included bolts when you're installing this in the field. So 1 lead goes to each battery. Just make sure you're matching red to black, red to red, and black to black. Then once we've wired our batteries on, the 2 breakers in the middle on this panel are for the batteries. So we're going to go ahead and switch those 2 breakers on. And once our batteries come on, the solar controller will start flashing blue to indicate the batteries are connected. And now we're ready to move on to hooking up the solar panel. Alright, so now we're going to set up our solar panel. So to do this, we want to lay our first solar panel down on some cardboard here. And when you're working on this, be careful not to put any weight on the panel itself, because you can easily crack the glass. So we're going to lay our first leg down onto the bracket, and we want to use the second set of holes in from the edge of the panel. We're just going to drop a bolt through the hole in the bracket, put a nut on the bottom, and just get it hand tight. And we want to start with the bottom panel, so that's going to be the one where the foot is on the bracket, and then the leg is on the other side. But drop another bolt through, put a nut on the bottom, These are just going to be hand tightened for now. Alright, so now we'll grab the second leg of the bracket and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And again, we're going to start with the foot down and we're going to use the second bolt from the edge of the panel. And again, make sure you don't put any of your weight on the panel itself because you can easily crack the glass. And once all 4 bolts are finger tight, we can flip the whole thing over and stand it up on the back legs. Alright, now if we tighten the top bolts on the back of the bracket, then we can slide the top panel on. Now we can slide our top panel in place. So now to bolt the second panel on, it's easy to pop the screw in from the bottom through the bracket and then the panel, and then pop the nut on the other side. And this is essentially the same process that we did on the first panel. The panel is just upside down now, relative to us. Alright, now we're going to plug in the solar panel extension cable. So at the end of your extension cable, that's the wrong one, you have a red MC4 connector which goes to the red Anderson connector which goes to the red cable on the Ultra Powermate box. Plug that in. There's only one way that they connect, and you can plug the caps into each other there like that. And on the other end we have 2 MC4 splitters. Now one splitter has two females and the other one has 2 males. You're going to plug one of the mating connectors from each solar panel into each splitter. So one male from each cable is going to go into the splitter with the 2 females. And then one female from each panel is going to go into the splitter with the 2 males. And now we'll come back to our Ultra Powermate case. And the circuit breaker all the way to the left is going to be for the solar panel. So if we switch that on, we should now get a steady blue light on the solar panel, solar power controller on the bottom there. And we do. And if we scan that QR code, we can pull up the Victron Connect app and see all of the power coming in and out of the batteries on this system. Now the last thing to do is going to be to connect the Aeroqual. So now we're going to use our extension cable with the blue Anderson connectors, and one end is going to plug into the cable coming out of the Ultra Powermate with the matching blue connector. And again, there's only one way these cables can go together. And the other end will go into our Aeroqual with the matching blue connector. Now if we switch on the circuit breaker all the way to the right, which is the load for the Aeroqual, and then switch on the switch inside our Aeroqual, it should turn on. So we're going to switch that to battery. There we go. That's all there is to it. Okay, once you've set up your Aeroqual and powered it all up, if you go ahead and launch the Victron Connect app on your Android or iPhone, and you will find your smart solar controller on the list of local devices. Go ahead and click on that. It's going to connect. Your phone is going to, if it asks you for the PIN number, you want to just enter the default PIN there, the 6 zeros. And if you want to enter in a PIN here, you can go ahead and change the PIN code. We're just going to leave it on the default. So we can see here the solar panel is coming in with 68 watts. The voltage is 30 to 32 volts. 2.2 amps coming in. Battery voltage is 13.5. The battery is charging at 3.6 amps. And the load output is 1.8 amps or 23 watts. So our system is working. We've got solar power coming in, battery voltage being charged, and load output being pulled to our Aeroqual. And here's our finished setup with 2 panels, 2 Battle-Born lithium batteries, and our Aeroqual Dust Sentry.